Hello. Today we're going to go through the new SAVS submission process. So typically you're probably used to sending in an email to the media inbox where we normally upload it to our website ourselves. But we're changing the process a little bit to make it a little easier for people to submit the content themselves and be able to shape how the content looks when that submission comes through. So today I'm going to show you the content submission process for community news, community information, opportunities to get involved, and any other news that would fall into this category. This is a great platform to share any positive stories that you've had or any information that you want to share with the sector or our wider partners from other sectors as well. And yeah, it's just a really good opportunity for you to get your word out and amplify it to an audience that's a bigger reach for yourselves. So as you can see, there's a little bit of blurb here on the page that talks about the kind of stories and information that you can share in this section, and it filters it by three subcategories, which I mentioned earlier, which are community news, information, and opportunities to get involved. As it mentions at the bottom, all of this content is moderated before it's published, and one of our colleagues here at SAVS will moderate that and make sure that everything appears okay, and just double check the content so that all of the sizing and the format comes through okay as well, to make sure that your content appears in the best possible way that it can on our website. So without further ado, we'll get into the submission form process. So as you can see, it's a fairly simple form. It simply asks for your title, the type of the content that you're submitting, the content that you'd like to submit. So this is where you can edit the content and add bullet points or format it to whichever way you would like the content to appear. It asks for a featured image, which is the image that's used on thumbnails across the SAVS app, the SAVS website. It'll be used on the weekly email, and these images will also be taken and used on social media as well. And then we have a flyer image as well. We've broken it down into two separate images because we know that sometimes some information can't be conveyed all in one small block. So what we'll do is we'll include the flyers into the posts if you request it, and then also share them across social media where applicable. And then it simply asks for your name and your email. And the only reason we capture this is so that we can contact you if we need to ask any questions about your content, or if we need to kind of reach out to you to let you know that your content has been posted. So I'm going to do a quick draft of an article to kind of show you how the content might appear as you go through the process. So we're just going to call this one SAVS test content. And then you've got a box here that asks you about the type of content, and you simply pick from the three options that I mentioned earlier. Community news we normally reserve for positive stories or successful things that have happened in our community. Community information is more about that general information that needs to be sent out to the sector, whether it's information about your service or a newsletter or something that's happened that you just like to share that doesn't quite fit into that community news category. And then we have an opportunities to get involved section, and essentially this is for sharing anything that you'd like people to take part in, whether it's a volunteering opportunity, whether it's just some sort of participation survey, a consultation that you're running potentially, or maybe just some general feedback. Really anything that you'd like people to get involved in that's where that goes. So we're going to select community information for this one. And then we're going to do a little bit of a test paragraph here. So obviously you'll have your content that fits this much better than this. And then what you can do is you can start playing around with how you want the content to appear. So you can change the heading. You can make it a heading 4, and essentially this just shortens the title at the beginning. Just keep in mind that there is a title at the top of the page already. So this will be placed into the body of the content itself. And then you can, like I said earlier, you can also format the text by making it bold or making it bold and italic. And you can also add bullet points too, or if you prefer, numbered lists. You can also add a quote, so if you've got a quote from a specific piece of content, then you can also add a section for a quote. So you could say the following, and then simply add a quote section in, and then you can do that. And then just be sure that once your quote's finished that you hit enter to start a new line, and then you can click the quote option again, and then that'll default back to the normal format that we have when we're typing. You can also change the text alignment, so you can choose align left, align center, and align right. We would suggest that you pick align left because it fits neater onto our website, so that when your content is displayed, it kind of works well with how our website is set up. You can add a link. So what you would do to add a link is you'd highlight the section that you would like the link to be embedded in, and then you'd simply type in your link here, like so, and now that appears there. And then you can also add read more tags as well. I would suggest leaving these last three options because they're not too relevant for content, but it's totally up to you if you'd like to add in that section to your content. So as well as the visual editor that we also have a text editor, which allows you to tweak the specific styling of the content. I would suggest that for most people you stick with the visual editor. It's very easy to use, very simple to kind of choose from the options that are available. And when I switch to this option, obviously it's a little bit more technical, and one slight error in this section could make your content appear very differently, and it could cause delays in the submission process. So once you've got your text and you're happy with how it appears and you've got it all in there, you can then select a featured image. So I've already created an image for this story earlier, and then I'll do a quick upload, and then your image will be added to the content. We've put a little bit of a disclaimer at the bottom. So we ask for images to be sent in 800 by 600 pixels. The reason we ask for this is because it keeps a consistent image size across our website and our weekly email and our social media. And we've found that 800 by 600 is a really good ratio for displaying the content in the best possible way that it can be. Like it says there, it can be a duplicate of the flyer image if you'd prefer, but it will need to be sized down to 800 by 600 yourselves, or this will be sized down via our processes here. But we would ask if you can send it in sized at exactly 800 by 600 yourselves. You can do this by making a Canva account if you haven't already got one. Canva offer a free plan to all non-profit organisations to be able to create imagery and create content, visual content, as well as resizing content. It's a really great tool, and there's a fantastic free offer for all non-profits. As I said, the process to sign up is really simple and really easy, so I definitely suggest doing that. And there's a option in Canva where it says that you can basically resize any image that you have to match specific dimensions that are requested. And then we've got a flyer image upload as well, like I mentioned earlier. So if you've got a lot more information that you want to convey, and you've created a really jazzy flyer that you want to share and make sure that people see, you can upload the flyer to this section. But this flyer will be resized to 1000 pixels wide. So although the height won't be adjusted, the width will. So if you can just make sure that when you submit the flyers, that as long as it doesn't exceed 1000 pixels in width, then you don't need to worry that your flyer is going to be cut off by any of the elements on the content. And again, you would simply just click this button, it would load up your files, and then you would just drop that in to there. And then finally, we just ask if you can put your name in and then your email. Once you've submitted a piece of content once, it'll probably pre-populate your details here that you just have to click and drop down. as you saw earlier. So that is the new SAVS content submission system. This has been a quick video about how you can submit community news or information or opportunities to get involved. As I mentioned, these three categories fall under this one umbrella of news and information. And then once you're happy with everything you would like to be submitted, you just click the submit button, and then it will just tell you that your response has been successfully submitted. This will then be picked up by our media team when we review the posts that have come in. We'll have a quick check of the content to make sure that everything's okay, and then if it's all okay, we'll make sure to click publish, and then it will be added to the schedule for the week to make sure that it goes in from there. As always with some content submissions, there is a cut-off point. So our cut-off point for inclusion in the SAVS weekly email is on Wednesday afternoon, so the end of play Wednesday. We will try and get the content added to the weekly email as best as we can, even if content does come in after the Wednesday. But it's just a guideline that we use to allow us enough time to feature as many stories as possible. But that's not to say that content won't be added to the weekly email that week if you submit it later on. So it's definitely worth submitting your content as early as possible or whenever you can. So try not to delay, even if you have missed that cut-off point. So this is the first video of 3 videos, which will cover all 3 of our submission forms. Like I mentioned, this one has been focused on news and information. The next one will be about events, and the following one will be about sector jobs. So I hope that's helped, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.